One of these is a perfect chocolate chip cookie. The rest of them, potential culinary cookie crimes. Today, we're seeing how far we can push a chocolate chip recipe until it starts to become something, well, it's not really meant to be. We're not just having fun today, although we generally do. The question we're asking today is, can we ruin a classic recipe and actually, for the power of food science, make some little additions that either make it still taste potentially the same or hopefully still all right? But with it being a crime, we need a benchmark classic chocolate chip recipe that works, a law-abiding recipe. So let's get that done first of all, which will really help us compare the other ones as we go. So as we go, let's try and talk a little bit about the science behind it too, if we can. If you've got any suggestions and want to add to that in the comments, do let me know. But of course, butter brings moisture, fats, and flavor. Sugar actually does add a bit of chewiness and moisture as well, and I suppose some like caramel notes. Nice and creamed. So we'll add in a splash of vanilla extract. And I was looking at this, and apparently vanilla extract isn't necessarily supposed to add a vanilla flavor primarily. It's supposed to help bring out flavors in the butter. I don't know how true that is. Sounds pretty good. We've got one egg here, which is obviously self-explanatory. Kind of binds it all together. Just shimmying in some salt as well, which again is supposed to make the flavors pop. You definitely taste it when you sprinkle it on a finished cookie, but then it kind of tastes like the sea. Some bicarbonate of soda. That's gonna do the heavy lifting, literally. And this is some plain flour, which of course, ultimately, you might see the impact it makes now already. We'll give it some structure, I guess through the gluten. Should we say that? Yeah, let's say that. That sounds good. All right, beautiful. I really hope the rest of our cookie doughs look like that later on, but I'm not hopeful. But one thing that is 100% gonna stay consistent, and I mold this over, okay? For this experiment to work, it's always gotta have chocolate chips. That's my rule, okay? Because ultimately, I still want it to be a chocolate chip cookie. Really happy with that. Let's get them in the oven. 10 to 12 minutes. There's something comforting about that. Something just feels right. It's kind of like that well-worn hoodie or jumper you've got. You sat there with your mug of coffee, all comforting. It feels right. And these should be a proper benchmark. Oh gosh, look at these, still warm. Oh, Well, that's very tasty. It's certainly set the standard to carry forward to compare with the rest of them as we go. Shall we commit some crimes? Something I never thought I'd say on camera. I want to see the difference it makes if we completely omit the butter and replace that with olive oil. We talked about how butter adds richness and flavor and structure. I'm fairly certain there's water in butter, but there isn't any in olive oil, is there? That's just like pure fat. And you'll notice I'm adding part light brown sugar this time and some white sugar. Oh wow, it's much more granular, isn't it? It smells like a focaccia, but I love olive oil as well, so this could be all right. That isn't too bad. I love how like glossy and shiny it's making the chocolate chips. I just hope it doesn't fry them. So whilst my oven preheats again, it might not make any difference, but I feel like part of me just wants to chill it in the fridge. It might lock it together a little bit and hold its shape more. I've got to be honest though, the majority of it so far has just gone bleh. This was supposed to be the minor one. Let's see what happens. And whilst that's baking on a personal level, thank you to everyone that's reached out and sent me messages about the ongoing personal situation the last few months in the family. It's been very, very kind and things are slightly improving. Well, I gotta say, we're halfway through and they are looking promising. These potentially look more like chocolate chip cookies than our first batch. They are slightly flatter, but they have puffed up. Pleasantly surprised. And they're not too oily either. Genuinely, I thought at one point they were just gonna expand, but I guess the egg and the flour just like started working together and like locked it. So here's our first batch, and maybe they're slightly paler in colour. And I guess I was kind of expecting like a bit of an oily finish on it, but not at all. All right, so whilst our control group watches on, we've got this batch here, like I say, visually flatter. It looks crispier. Okay. There is a crust, so you've still got like a softened inside. It's more like a cake in texture, but the entire lid of it has got a much stronger crunch compared to the softness of these. I mean, it feels like a flatter taste. It's still like recognizably a cookie, visually certainly. There's not a huge difference there. And the olive oil notes, Now, actually kind of mild. If anything, slightly more in the aftertaste. Yeah, so I'd say it's lighter, crispier, but less depth and richness. The olive oil has almost sort of like mellowed it out. And I think in isolation, if you didn't have these and just that, you'd be like, yeah, that's a cookie, and not even notice the olive oil. I'm actually really enjoying this though, because I feel like I'm like a trainee food scientist gone rogue. I'm trying to push to the limit the resilience of still keeping it a chocolate chip cookie. And the minor one, 100% does that. But let's take it up a notch. So one of the most noticeable things out of both of these so far is you can kind of tell what the salt is doing to it. So for our major one, we're not going to add any salt. We're going to do a substitute for that. We're also going to adjust the sweetness with another ingredient. And on the egg front, which we really saw the benefit of that with the olive oil, we're going to just use the yolk to see if that impacts the structure, how much it rises, and if this thing ultimately works. This should look a little different. I'm going to add in the white sugar again, so not the light brown sugar. I liked the 50-50 combo. There was a noticeably paler look, and of course that was probably the olive oil a little bit too. Mustn't forget the role that sugar played. However, what else contains sugar? No, not a melted ice lolly, although it does. Raspberry jam, I guess you could use any flavor you want. Maybe some marmalade. There's some sugar in that, all right, and also some color. Sugar, color, fruity flavour in a chocolate chip cookie, but also it's got some slight acidity which might help the bicarbonate of soda. I know we talked about crimes. This looks like a crime scene. I'll get rid of that. I guess the other thing is where we talked about the oil not having any water content, the jam 100% does. So I don't know if that will make it droopy too. I mean, that seems it's got like a little bit of bite actually. Yeah, I mean, that really is looking like some sort of mousse or yogurt at the moment. As the vanilla gets poured in, slightly confused. So remember, with the egg, we were saying about how that adds structure. We're only going to add the egg yolk. I want to see the difference that does. I think it will impact the lift, but it might make it richer. So our next thing, we've been putting in a sprinkle of salt. What else has salt? Yes, so in the fridge here, I've bought some of the pre-grated, extra mature for more strength cheddar cheese. The cheese is going to be the role of our salt, and I don't know how that's going to work with the jam. And the other thing, remember there was that hack that we found that the pre-grated stuff actually has potato starch on it, and to wash it, the starch might actually be a good thing and help absorb any oily pockets. I mean, I don't think it's going to make it taste of potato. A chocolate chip cookie crime has been committed, folks, but it's starting to come together, isn't it? I think the jam is really helping here. That's the highest cookie amount we've had so far. They look pink, they have the texture of mashed potato, but they could, and I mean could, still potentially be classed as a chocolate chip cookie if it all goes well. You smell of jam in a good way. Look at that. It's got a really delicate lilac shade to it. Structurally, they've held really well, almost like rigid, like that's the smoothed out one out the back, but like these ones, like I say, those sort of rough rock cake edges that have caught and browned nicely. And they've definitely, it's the same quantities, definitely not. I mean, look at the size of this. It's almost double the size. It's like one of the ingredients, perhaps it was the jam, maybe that did the opposite, it has refused to let the bicarb help. The lack of egg white too, probably. And that's where we're at so far. Let's see what these taste like. Mmm. Oh my word. Get a load of that. Oh, that is incredible. What the heck have we done? That has created this gorgeous fudgy center. It's all cooked through, but it's like the jam has sort of come to life. You've got the warmed chocolate chips there. I cannot taste the cheese. This is brilliant. Mmm. We might have just changed the world. Like, legitimately. Like, what? That is unbelievable. It was a fruity chocolate chip cookie, and that absolutely worked. Oh my gosh. Yes! It's kind of got like a gatto vibe. But things are about to get a little bit stranger. But I do feel like this final one, we've had the minor, we've had the major, this is like the life sentence, okay? Let's reiterate, I really want this to work, and all the other ones have so far. Even the first one. But even if this works, I don't know if it's a chocolate chip cookie, but I've had a lot of fun. We're actually gonna start off with a different step of this process. So here is a small ripened banana. The more ripened it gets, the sweeter it is, and good ripened bananas are great for banana bread. But also, as I mush this away with a fork, some moisture. So to replace our oil, I suppose, and also the egg, this is some mayonnaise. I'm going for about a tablespoon of that. So there is actually egg in the mayo, and it's a fairly neutral thing. Now for sweetness, we could have gone with jam. But what else is sweet? Well, this is actually the budget supermarket brand ketchup, which I tend to find is sweeter anyway. It's sweet. It's red for colour. We're going for a very red thing. I mean, I could have used mustard, I suppose. Tomato-y. Who doesn't want tomato and chocolate together? Oh, wow. Oh, yes. Yeah, I've got to be honest. I've been championing this so far. Really pleasantly surprised. But that really, really does smell of ketchup. I feel like we've made some confused burger sauce here. This is not how they make Big Mac sauce, by the way, but it does kind of have that colour hue to it. So we can't just leave it like that. That is not going to be a cookie. I mean, it might not be anyway, right? We need something to bind it together. There's no egg in it, and I thought, well, maybe we could get something that could give it like a little bit of flavour or some crunch, like breakfast cereal. So I was thinking cornflakes. You smash them up, they kind of go all brittle, they get soggy. Rice Krispies will pretty much disintegrate. So I've got some Weetabix cereal. I don't know how popular this is in other countries, but it's gluten-free. And this stuff, let me tell you, if you ever have it with milk on, you leave it for like 5 minutes once you're done, you have to like literally chisel it off your bowl. So I think it's going to give it some strength. I've got to be honest, folks, that blooming stinks. Anyhow, welcome Weetabix to the party. But before we add that in goes the bicarb one more time. And originally I was going to put salt back in, but I was so pleased with the result of that cheese. Maybe it helped bind it as well. The cheese and the mayo and the ketchup are not out of place together normally. It's just when they're mixed with mashed banana and the cereal. I'm going to put about 2/3 in. Look, it's actually holding its shape. And the longer we leave it, hopefully I'm not going to have to chisel it off the bowl, the scent of the ketchup has actually been absorbed. This is ridiculous. Chaotic flavour, check. Looks like meatballs. Oh, it's so foamy. You can see the cheese. Goodness me. Hang on a sec. We're missing one key ingredient for chocolate chip cookies. Goodness me. I mean, that might help. Well, here we are. I've lowered it down to 4, and I've got to say, they suddenly do look a lot more chocolate chip-ish. The real positive, though, is the tomato sauce stench has definitely reduced. So let's see what that turns like. Hopefully the theory of what I've done today kind of makes sense, and we've kind of proved the concept. I was mulling over adding gravy granules in. I'm kind of glad I didn't, and I know I could have put much, much worse things in, but so far, and it could end up in a massive epic fail. It's been a fun old day. Oh, dearie me. Get a look at that. That is actual cheese patches there bursting through. I don't want to see it. Here we are then, folks. And to be completely honest, I've had to put them in the fridge to be able to peel them off. Oh, my baking mat here. I mean, they're holding their shape, to be fair now. They've actually got a bit of rigidity to it. And I think it's certainly the most interesting looking when it comes to a chocolate chip cookie. And is totally bypassing, well, you can't even see the jam hue in these anymore. But this is the order that we made them. This is the normal batch. This is the oil one. This is the jam and cheesy one. And these are, well, melting in my hand. I mean, it does look amazing, doesn't it? Ooh. Ooh. That is not a cookie. It's basically like a banana pillow of just chocolate chunks. I can't taste the cheese. I can't taste the Weetabix. I can't taste the ketchup. It's got this really weird crunch. Like we have definitely baked it and given it a bit of a crispy layer, and then the inside is so soft. It is a ketchup, mayo, cheese, banana, toasted Weetabix cookie with chocolate chips. The first bite was a little weird. And there is an aftertaste now of Weetabix, which isn't too bad because the dominant taste is the bitterness from the dark chocolate, which I think you primarily want. It's just a bit distracting that you've got like actual pieces of cheese on the top layer there. But would I eat that again? I actually think this is ridiculous. I would, but not if I wanted a chocolate chip cookie. We've taken it from something that it actually is to something that looks more than it is, to something that might have revolutionized cookies in general, to something that is just like a squidgy chocolate hub that's actually quite intense in flavour and rather refreshing. Of course, it's nice to give you my opinion of this, and I really didn't mind today if this was a huge success or a fail. So let's get Mrs. B's opinion, because she's got no idea what was in these.
They just look like cookies. And that just tastes like a normal cookie.
Nice. That is a normal cookie.
Okay.
Congratulations.
That's crunchier.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's what I thought too. Can you taste anything? There's chocolate chips in it, right?
Yeah, I can't taste anything different apart from the crispiness.
So it still tastes like a cookie?
Yeah. At first, there was something weird about it, and now I can taste it.
What's weird about it?
It's like got a raspberry taste to it. Has that got jam in it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like that blew my mind.
Just when you're expecting a cookie, and then suddenly you get like...
To replace the salt, we put cheese in it.
There's cheese in this one?
Yeah. Just to give it a bit of a salty edge, but it's all melted. You can't even see it.
Oh, I can smell it.
Can you?
Yeah.
I can't.
Can you
That's
not?
so weird. Like, is that not the greatest, like, tasting chocolate chip cookie you've ever tasted in your life?
No.
No. Okay. So here's the last one. You can have the one I've just half eaten if you wish. I could only make 4 of those. I was kind of limited.
Okay. Again, this is a strange texture.
Yeah.
Oh, I smell banana.
Yes, there's banana in it. Would you class it as a chocolate chip cookie still?
I prefer this to the raspberry one.
Really?
Yeah.
It is good. I found it like quite rich and intense for sure. I think maybe I just got besotted with that third one. Can you taste any other flavours in it? Can you see any other things in
Is
it?
there cheese in that as well?
Yeah.
It does taste like banana bread.
So there's cheese, bananas, ketchup. Can't taste the ketchup.
No. Just banana. And cheese. I do think though chocolate chip cookies shouldn't be messed with.
That was kind of my aim for this, to see how much I could push it. Well, at least I ended up with something nice. Like, you would eat that, right?
What, that?
Oh, the way you said that. What, that? I think that answers it all. Thanks, Mrs. B. Cheers, guys. Genuinely, I liked all of that.
Did you?
What is the favourite? What is your favourite?
The first one.
The first one, yeah. So the chocolate chip cookie.
Yeah. You have committed a crime against chocolate chip cookies.